When I was a little CB Smith, I was obsessed with two things: dinosaurs and sharks. Now, when I found out about dinosaur sharks, well, my mind was just blown right out of the water. Growing up, I wanted to be a paleontologist with a focus on ancient marine life. That was until I was 13, found a guitar, and wanted to be a rock star.
Grown-up CB Smith just wants to talk about books and adaptations, and today we're going to talk about Meg, both the movie and the book that's based on, and I'm going to do my best not to spoil anything major for you guys.
Shark!
Shark?
Shark!
Go and shed your winter coat. Go and put your life vest on. When you go into the sea, you'll see a cuddly, cuddly, cuddly shark. Cuddly, cuddly, cuddly shark.
Shark!
Calcareous Megalodon literally means big tooth. Roman philosopher Pliny the Elder believed shark teeth fell from the sky. 1,000 years later, Megalodon teeth were being discovered in rock formations. People during the Renaissance thought that the teeth belonged to dragons and giant snakes. That was until 1667, when naturalist Nicholas Steno recognized them as shark teeth. And then finally in the 1830s, the name Calcareous Megalodon came and stuck. Cut to 160 years later, Steve Alten wrote his first book, Meg, a novel of deep-sea terror, in 1997, with the movie being made 20 years later. But who cares about the history of teeth analysis? I want to see a big shark monster. In a little bit. Both book and movie wanted to take their time before we get our big shark moments to explain how an ancient prehistoric giant shark could survive in the present day. For the book, we have Jonas Taylor, deep-sea diver now disgraced when an encounter with a Meg that no one believes left 2 people dead in an accident. He spent the next 5 years trying to legitimize his theory that the Megalodon was still alive in the ocean.
Now, the movie went in an entirely different direction.
Navy SEAL Special Ops Deep Sea Rescue Diver Jonas Taylor left 2 men behind when he believed a sea monster was attacking a submarine. He spent the next 5 years trying to prove his theory that years of living off of beer doesn't make you fat, and he surprisingly succeeded instead of looking like Dad Bod Thor. In Alton's book, you can tell he really did his reading on sharks and shark anatomy, but more importantly, he really wants you to know he did his reading.
There are moments outside the college scenes in the book where Jonas talks less like a real person and more like someone reading from a script, talking about shark anatomy.
Alton gives more than enough information for the reader to suspend disbelief for the story, and I appreciate Alton's efforts to make it as scientifically grounded as possible. The theory is that some megalodons escaped the colder waters of the incoming ice age by diving down into the bottom of the Mariana Trench, where hydrothermal vents provided a warm enough environment for the megalodon to thrive and evolve for the next few million years. Like I said before, there's enough suspension of disbelief to ignore the environment the Meg now lives in. An environment that is over 15,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. The gas emitting from the hydrothermal vents are shooting out at temperatures of 600-800 degrees, filled with hydrogen sulfide among other toxic chemicals. Disbelief fully suspended. While the book tries to be grounded more scientifically, the movie decides to give these conditions on the bottom of the ocean as a second glance, providing a quick explanation that what we thought was the bottom of the ocean was actually a layer of gas that's hiding an ocean inside the ocean.
That's not completely ridiculous.
At the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico, there's a concentration of methane and hydrogen gases held together in water that's 5 times saltier than the water surrounding it, creating a lovely lake of death for most animals in the ocean, like this pickled crab over here. And there recently has been a body of water the size of the Arctic Ocean found 400 miles under Asia, but with a combination of heat and pressure, it would literally look and feel like rock to us. So there's that disappointment. That's the thing about putting science in a monster story, trying to figure out how much wiggle room you can give in your story to make it plausible but still able to have the story go the way you want it to. Too much of it, you run the risk of focusing on one aspect while ignoring other parts. Too little, and the reader doesn't care what happens because your story isn't set on anything. Like playing a game with a toddler and they just keep making rules up.
Fire the laser cannon!
That's impossible.
But we're talking about a story with a giant dinosaur shark rampaging the ocean. On one hand, you have a more scientifically minded story with an understanding of shark anatomy. On the other hand, you have a summer blockbuster with a monster that really should be used in more movies. The outcome is still the same.
Shark Monster! Shark Monster!
Shark monster! Oh man, look at that. With the squid squeezing the sub and the shark is all nom 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 nom. And then the whale is all help, help, help. And the shark is all Shamu gonna be my poo later. And then the people have the shark tank and the shark can't break it. So he's all like, well, this is a hard pill to swallow. And then the people in the water are all blah, 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 blah. And the shark is all nom 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 nom. Who cares about scientific accuracy when you have shark monsters? Oh, and in the book, the shark fights a submarine. The shark fights a fucking submarine. How did they not put that in the movie? Yes, sir. Everything about this thing. Yes.
Have we blown your mind, sir?
I'll be okay. Just give me a minute.
So the shark in the movie is essentially just a big great white, maybe a little stockier and more menacing looking, while the book gave us a megalodon that evolved the last couple million years, with eyes sensitive to light, skin bleached albino, and bioluminescence in its skin.
The shark glows in the dark. And I know, this is Alton's attempt to try to explain on what a megalodon would actually be like if it did live down the Mariana Trench and develop over the years. It's just, I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's just, I don't know, maybe loses its creep factor a little bit when your monster that's looking under the surface is glowing.
You're beautiful. Beautiful. This is the skin of a killer, Bill.
The similarities that I mentioned before are it for this adaptation. Some characters exist either in-name only, like Mac going from a crazed out adventure junkie Vietnam veteran in the book to the head of a research facility in the movie. Or like Jonas's wife, where the type of character exists, but everything changes about them, including the name. Going from an image-obsessed, opportunistic celebrity reporter named Maggie to in the movie she's just another deep-sea diver divorced from Jonas, but she's actually like a generally nice person named Lori. Japanese-American colleagues in San Francisco Bay in the book are now a team mix of both Chinese and American scientists near Sanyan Bay in South China.
The reasons for this is more business than artistic. The Meg was co-produced by both Warner Brothers and the China Media Capital, an investment firm that specializes in mostly entertainment.
Changing ethnicities of the novel's original characters and moving the setting to the South China Sea, the movie also showcases some Chinese culture, like fruit being a symbol in some funerals and, adding a Thailand rendition of 80s pop songs?
So I wasn't even going to mention the song because it's not even the weirdest thing about this movie. But then digging deeper, I find Mark Oshry, co-founder of Cap Records, mentioned that this song was specifically made for this movie, and I have no idea why. I mean, I guess because Mickey sounds like Meggy, like Megalodon? Like, half of the show is nothing but bad puns, so it's weird for me to have to play this.
That was the worst pun ever.
In the end, The Meg is a fun monster movie that doesn't play itself too seriously, while the book wanted a more realistic approach, with some big set pieces added in, like the mentioned submarine v shark moment, and an ending that is so insane. Compared to the rest of the book, it's actually kinda disappointing that the more tongue-in-cheek, up-the-action adaptation didn't go where the more grounded book went. As a rule, I don't spoil endings on this show, so you'll just have to read it to find out. This is CB Smith, and I'll be back in September with another page.
Shark monster, shark